Hey everybody, welcome to my second Power Rangers Dino Charge vlog. As promised, today I will do a brief vlog on last week's episode, Past, Present, and Fusion. This episode is known to be the introduction of the season's Green Ranger Riley, who is, obviously born as a Montana farm boy, and also how he discovered the Green Energem, and joins up with Tyler and Shelby on their pilgrimage at the Dinosaur Museum, and how they got into, how they came together, being recruited with, Coda and Chase, and how they got together and become this elite team of Rangers to stop Sledge and his forces of evil from him getting, to stop Sledge from getting his hands on the Energems. Basically, there is some things in this episode I did like, and there were at least one or two things I did not like, but I'll try to express that while not reading off from what I see on TV, because I have some information to show you off on the Ranger Wiki for a few brief moments. Now, I'll tell you a couple of things I did like from this episode that was really surprising, and there was at least one or two things about this episode I didn't really like. Now, as promised, it was great that this season, as much as I like it now so far, had already met its expectations of what the characters were going to be about, like Tyler being, looking for his missing father and being a childish, kind of character. Shelby being the rough and tumble tomboy. Chase being this slick, cool, ladies guy, wannabe kind of guy, and Coda being the caveman, Riley being a farm boy from Montana. I don't know why every time I say Montana, I say it all wrong. Excuse me. And then also about Kendall being the scientist, and somehow I don't even know much about the Keeper character. We'll try, but at least the show will undergo more of his character pretty much later on. But if they make the Keeper a lousy half mentor like character, then it's like, suppose if some people will claim the Keeper as one of the worst Power Ranger side characters ever, like so much for again Lyrico and Turbo. But enough of that. The best thing that I liked was the introduction of Riley. The way how they showcased that he's from Montana, and also has his older brother with him, who will later somehow has already been revealed earlier as an early leak that he is going to be the featured Graphite Ranger. Why couldn't they call them the Gray Ranger is something that's beyond me. That's which is very head scratching. For someone who's a Montana descent, Montana native. Why did I say descent? Sorry about that. I'm slipping. There's something about his character that I did like, and about his, as soon as when he got the Green Energem, and when he got this stick that will become his Dino Saber, which is of course the Dino Charge Rangers' respective weapon of swordsman and all that. The Green Energem, if Tyler and Shelby's Energems are inherited by the respective Dinozords, the Triceratops and Tyrannosaurus respectively, Riley's Energem, the green one, gives him the inheritance of the Velociraptor. Because when he was given, when he pulled out the Green Energem from the Stone Witch, in which Fury spots him with, it gives him the agility and speed of a Velociraptor. I mean, as soon as when I seen him, battle of Fury for a brief moment, I witnessed how quick this guy is, and that's real great. Something versatile for a Green Ranger. I can't even think of what Green Ranger from a past season or two that would have that agility and speed like that in terms of his fighting prowess, but maybe so or not when I discuss about his character. And I think that the actor who plays Riley, Michael Taubes. Sorry, I'm getting his name wrong. I don't know why I said Robert. I'm getting off on the road track talking and stuttering for nothing. Michael Tabbert, I think he is nailing this role real good. Points for Michael Tabbert for doing the role as we go through the show. Then, also in the meantime, there is also a funny moment as soon as when after getting away from Fury and when he leaves his mother and brother and meets up with Tyler and Shelby. The part about him with his, I think this little notebook thing of his what directions he got to go in order for him to the pages somehow flip out and I wonder how did they make the book have its pages loose. I mean, that's beyond me. Now, one of the best things of this episode, one of the best moments of the episode, I think, was pretty good. Was when Tyler, Shelby, and Riley helped this woman whose husband is stuck under their trapped car that has been tossed over and is about to set on fire. And Riley finds out that the car is leaking gas. The three Rangers tried their best to pull the car up from off the guy, and with as they tried to lift up with their brute strength, the power of the energems, however, helped them lift the car up, and the car explodes. That would be like a brief Superman moment for the Rangers. Pretty much. I mean, well, if Superman helped, certain civilians that are in danger when a car is, trying to crush them and try to kill them, and the car is about to set on fire and it's leaking gasoline, and Superman grabs the car up in the air. That's exactly what the Rangers did here. Or imagine if this was a moment from the Incredible Hulk right now of what the Rangers did. That was pretty cool. Then the discovery once when the three actually go to the what's the name of the museum in the dinosaur museum in Dino Charge? I mean, the name escapes to me. Its name escapes me. Anyway, they enter the museum. They were about to enter the museum until they suddenly Shelby spots Chase and Coda, who somehow avoided her and ignored her earlier in the previous episode. And Tyler checks out, that big dinosaur head that would later lead them to the underground chamber that will become this season's new command center. And they also regroup with Coda and Chase, and as well as the Keeper and Kendall as well. And then they all know, then also Kendall showcases about the 5 energems that they have, while they have to look for 5 more that are lost and missing somewhere before, and their objective is they have to spend depending on how many episodes the season is going to go. Well, we know it's going to be 2. We know that the season is 2 years, 20 episodes. We get it. And they got to spend this amount of time to find the last 5 energems before Sledge gets them. And then also, the command center interior in Power Rangers Dino Charge, now it looks very familiar to me. Is it just me, or is this show starting to be a bit like, well, let's see, you got a character, a female character who's the a mentor of the season, and also will become a Ranger later on sometime, I don't know when, probably during the Super Season next year. Is it just me, or I'm starting to think that Dino Charge is starting to be like the Arrow of Power Rangers. Because, well, you have Kendall, who is because it's obvious, because, I also, something I never told you this about in the previous video, that when I think about Kendall as his character, I do sort of do get some vibes of Felicity Smoke from Arrow. Yes, I do watch that show. And somehow, well, in the meantime, in terms of Power Rangers, you have a vibe of, well, I'm not going to tell you. Anyway, they have to go out to stop Sledge's Ice Age monster who is still on the loose. And also note this, that in this episode, the Ice Age monster's voice is a lot different than in the previous episode. Because in the previous episode, the Ice Age monster's voice was a little deep, while his voice in this episode is a little high-pitched. The other four Rangers, minus Tyler, whose red Energem is like out of power. They spotted the T-Rex Zord that Shelby and Tyler already witnessed the previous episode. This time, this is the first Dino Charge episode to be limited with Kyryuger footage, while the previous episode had no Sentai footage. You know, one of my thoughts is, well, as Power Rangers Dino Charge goes on, I would have loved it if Dino Charge didn't use much Kyryuger footage. A lot of, Ranger footage and Monster footage and Zord footage. Why couldn't they just do entirely 100% original footage? Is beyond me. They could have took the advantage to do that in Super Mega Force or Samurai, but no. But Dino Charge, I mean, I like what they're doing with the season, but I would love to see if it was just all 100% original story and footage and not much of Kyryuger. But you can take and incorporated Kyryuger footage and story, or just the story elements of Kyryuger, and not much footage from it. Only some monster footage and some Spectre Zord footage is beyond me. When Tyler Now what I really like about this episode is that it looks very reminiscent to the first episode of Kyryuger when it was mostly a Red Ranger focused episode, when Tyler goes face to face with the Ice Age monster and the foot soldiers, the Vivix foot soldiers. And also I understand one of the flaws about the Dino Charge's morph sequence is that the morph sequence can be a bit long, but it didn't really feel that long to me. But I like the pacing of the morph sequence. And although the first episode, we didn't have a morph sequence, we just had Tyler and Shelby discover that they got the Energems, and they also got the Dino Charge morphers in their hand, and they didn't know what was going on, and how they actually morphed into Power Rangers is beyond them. In this episode, we finally get an awesome morph sequence. At least, finally, as some people promised when Dino Charge started, that if they, for the morph sequence this season, if they do the same morph sequence the Kyryugers did, some people wouldn't be watching the season right now, because Kyryugers' morph sequence, Kyryugers' Henshin sequence, in my opinion, to be honest, was kind of silly. I mean, you gotta dance around doing all of this and all of that, just doing all this twirling around bang stuff, because that is just real stupid. Well, look, Kyryuger was a lighthearted dinosaur-themed Sentai. I get what they were doing with it, and you just either have to take it for what it is. But anyway, actually, in my opinion, I prefer Dino Charge's morph sequence better than Kyryuger's version. At least the Dino Charge Rangers don't do all that twirling around with the the Galru Revolver, aka the Dino Charge Morpher, around while they go, "Unleash Dino Charger, ready, unleash the power!" Because that doesn't, doing all that dancing mumba jumba crap doesn't work on Power Rangers. That's a good thing they won't do it. That's a good thing they didn't do it. Because if they did, I would be like, then I won't be watching this season. But at least my expectation with the morph sequence this season was high. Or moderate, so. However, the morph sequence in Dino Charge is fantastic. The way how they did the CGI with the morph sequence and how all 5 Rangers morphed was incredible. Though it's also a bit reminiscent to Samurai's morph sequence, but I'll take the morph sequence here for what it is. And I've already stated, if I could state this more about the Dino Charge / Kyryuger costumes, I think I've already stated this in my previous vlog on Dino Charge already, and I'm probably going to repeat it again, this time with all 5 Dino Charge Rangers together. That I did not like the Kyryuger / Dino Charge costumes at first, because I didn't think that the costumes weren't that convincing. I do have to say, though, that they do look awesome, and they do have a great color balance. than, let's say, the Dino Thunder costumes. But I understand that for a dinosaur Ranger team's uniform design, the Dino Charge costumes will never be as great or as iconic as the Mighty Morphin costumes. Though the Dino Thunder costumes are okay, but actually the primary three, not the black or white Rangers, is a suit from Dino Thunder. But Dino Charge's costumes look very fantastic. I really do like the costumes. Well, when Kyryuger came out 2 years ago, I didn't like the suits because I didn't think that the suits and the Zords, in terms of for a dinosaur motif, wasn't convincing. And also, well, there is pretty much of a flaw with the Dino Charge costumes that we understand that due to the fact that Dino Charge and Kyryuger don't have a Yellow Ranger this time for the first time in Power Rangers' history, and for the amount of a few times that Super Sentai never had a Yellow Ranger, about the yellow chest part of the costume. One of the things that I thought was very reminiscent, because it feels like if you have a character in this season that is reminiscent to what's her name, who was a Pink Ranger 16 seasons ago, why do I have a feeling that I have a vibe of the Lost Galaxy costumes with the Dino Charge suits with the Charlie Brown? I mean, if you think the Lost Galaxy costumes have the Charlie Brown pattern, the Dino Charge and Kyryuger uniforms has a Charlie Brown pattern, but it's slanted and it's thin. Whereas the Ginga Man and Lost Galaxy suits, it was a thick Charlie Brown inspired pattern, which would be considered like copyright infringement to Toei's part because they ripped off Charlie Brown's t-shirt pattern. But I think the Dino Charge costumes also sport the Charlie Brown thing, but except it's upperwards and it's like slanted. And then also the helmets are very reminiscent to the Dino Thunder helmets, but except at least the Dino Thunder helmets were okay, but they were not one of my favorite Ranger helmets. Though I do think that the only Dino Thunder Ranger helmet in my opinion that stands out the most is the Red Ranger's helmet, because the Red Ranger's helmet is like very primal looking. Actually, all the Dino Thunder helmets, not Dino Thunder, Dino Charge helmets are very authentic by how they stand out. But in terms of the helmets, my favorite one in terms of the Dino Thunder helmets, I keep saying Dino Thunder, Dino Charge helmet is the Red Ranger's helmet. And probably the black ones too. The other three are okay. You just wait until when we get to the auxiliary 5 Dino Charge Rangers sometime soon, later on throughout the series. I'll see which of the auxiliary Dino Charge Rangers' helmets stood out and whose suits stood out as well. And even as soon as we get to the Gold Ranger, trust me, because the Gold Ranger, Kiryu Gold, he looks real awesome. Especially by the authenticity of the coloring of gold on his suit. Though when we do get the Gold Ranger later on in a few episodes from now, I understand. Suppose we had a male Yellow Ranger windowing as a Gold Ranger. We don't have a Yellow Ranger. I understand for both Kyryuger and here, people may get in some confusion that the Gold Ranger and Kyryuger and Dino Charge is a Yellow Ranger, when knowing there is no Yellow Ranger this season. Well, of the last two Dino-themed Ranger teams, Mighty Morphin and Dino Thunder had Yellow Rangers, what would make you think that Dino Charge would have a Yellow Ranger? There's no point at it for that. Anyway, the 5 Rangers' first battle together as a team, finally, was pretty good. Though pretty much up par to the Dino Thunder team's first battle when they fought off Zeltrax and a few Tyrannodrones at night, and it's really real good. And in terms of when Tyler summons the T-Rex Zord of his, is anyone bothered by Tyler calling his T-Rex Zord Rexy? Well, I don't really think there's a problem with that, in my opinion, but do you guys have a problem with it? Well, despite the fact that Tyler is that, childish, Red Ranger, and he's a fun, outgoing kind of character. Well, in the meantime, still on his quest looking for his dad. I don't really think that's a problem with him calling his T-Rex Zord Rexy. Now, like I stated in a comment on a post somewhere on the Power Rangers Facebook group, Ranger Generations, which I'm a member on, suppose if there was a season of Power Rangers or a Sentai season that would become a Power Ranger season, like Go Buster, because, well, Go Buster has a frog Zord, and it's green. How would you like it if you were to adapt that Green Ranger from Go Buster as a Power Ranger season? Would you have that Green Ranger call his Zord Froggy? Or like Frogger, like, you know, the video game character Frogger. Just, well, think about it. Anyway, their first battle as a team together was pretty good. The episode ends with Sledge telling them about, and well, Chase asks them about Sledge and what was going on in his backstory. And also, we end the episode with Sledge at his prison cell looking for, you know, what monster he wants to put out for this, you know, the next episode that's coming tomorrow afternoon and this week as a whole, to go out to try to steal the Rangers' Energems and all of that again. So, therefore, there you go. So, anyway, this was another good episode. I'm still going to be inclined to watch more. And what do you guys feel about this entire episode of Past, Present, and Fusion as a whole? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Drop a like, subscribe, so forth. And you'll be seeing more Power Ranger Dino Charge vlogs coming soon until the season goes on its summer hiatus. And therefore, thanks for watching, and I'm off for now.